You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
It's a monster roller coaster with your brain, or whatever the hell he said. Welcome to the show, folks. Hi, folks. I'm Chris Voss with thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another great podcast. Who knew we'd do another? It's only been 13 years. What are we going on? 14th year or something? Holy crap. I'm getting old for this. Maybe, do you ever get too old for a podcast? I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe if I die, I'm going to do this podcast from my coffin if I die, people. You're just going to tune in and you're just going to hear like worms chewing. And then you're going to be like, this isn't funny at all. But maybe it'll be funny. It'll be like, ha, he got what's coming to him. I don't know. My trolls will love it. They'll love the podcast then.
What a visual.
It'll be called the Down Under Podcast. Wait, that's Australian. Maybe I'll get buried in Australia, and then it'll be a double entendre, or I don't know, whatever the hell. I skipped English. I flunked it, actually. So, guys, welcome to the podcast. We certainly appreciate you guys being here. We got an amazing author on the show today, but in the meantime, remember, guilt your friends, relatives, and loved ones into signing up to a subscription for the Chris Voss Show Podcast. Guilt is the gift that keeps on giving. Remember that, folks. I think all the ladies know what I'm talking about. Guilt and shaming. Keep those guys in line. So guilt people into signing up for the Chris Voss Show Podcast. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go to all those places on the internet, the big LinkedIn groups, all that stuff that we do. She is the amazing new author of the book called The Story of ... And that's the dots themselves, not the, I forget what they call this, but it doesn't say the story of ... dot it's ... So the story of ... Shirley B. Novack is on the show with us today. She's gonna be talking to us about her amazing new book, and it's historical fiction. So we're gonna get into some of that, and we're gonna learn some things. Shirley is a first-generation daughter of Polish and Roman. She's the daughter of Roman immigrants. Hey, there you go, Shirley. I just opened up a whole new venue for a whole new book.
Caesar was my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
She's the daughter of Polish and Russian immigrants, not Roman, but I mean, maybe down the line she was. I don't know. Could be. Maybe she's Caesar or who's that other guy the Stoics that I listened to? Anyway, she originally graduated from Fisher College in Boston with a degree in laboratory science and worked in fetal surgical research. But after marrying and having 3 children, she went back to school and graduated from Newberry College with a degree in interior design. Well, she's done everything. Now she's an author, and she has a successful interior design practice since 1985, but her passion for writing was never far from the surface. This past year, she became a public published author of historical fiction. The book, The Story of, is getting rave reviews, and a second book is in the works. She resides in Framingham. What is going on with me this morning? I can't read for nothing. I'm probably getting Framingham, Massachusetts. I mean, she could have been born both places. I don't know. With her husband Barry and their precious Havanese Stevie Nicks, which is funny because last week we just had the Stevie Nicks biographer on. Welcome to the show, Shirley. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
There you go. And so give us your .com so people can find you on the interwebages, please.
I don't know which one. Okay, well, there's probably, I'm on Facebook, Shirley Novack author.com. And then I have Novack, SNOVACK, and associates.com. That's my own website. And Sobonoe, SOBONOE at AOL.com.
There you go. This is funny. There's a note here, actually. You open a seasonal gourmet candy store in Cape Cod to make sure
Yes.
my children would always have summer employment. They actually
Yeah.
do the work there?
We built a house in a resort area on Cape Cod.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a seasonal marketplace with 24 shops and boutiques, but they had no candy store.
Wow.
And I really needed an excuse to spend the whole summer there. So I offered to open a candy store, and they had entertainment every night of the week. And Cyndi Lauper, in fact,
Oh, wow.
Cyndi Lauper was my neighbor.
Oh, wow.
And one day she came into the candy store. My kids did work it. They ran it. And we were very, very popular because who doesn't love candy?
More candy. I mean,
And one day Cyndi Lauper came in, and she was going on David Letterman the next night, and she wanted to bring gifts for everybody, in the band, David Letterman, and we had mushroom truffles.
Oh, wow.
She was very concerned that if kids were watching the show, they would get the wrong idea about the mushroom truffles. So we said, no, 12 o'clock at night, little kids aren't up. Anyhow, she was leaving for Japan to go on tour. And she asked if I had any boxes. And I said, I do at my house. And so she came over the house and she took all the boxes out of my garage. And my son said to her, who was a little boy at the time, and he said, Cyndi, today is my sister's birthday. You want to see what I'm giving her? To which Cyndi reached in her purse and took out her very first tape of True Colors.
Oh, wow.
I know. And she explained the cover, and she said, I would like to leave this for Abby, who's my daughter. Let me sign it and leave it for Abby for her birthday. But you have to promise to not call any radio stations, because Michael Jackson was coming out with his new album in September. And so hers was delayed a couple of months because of that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is an amazing,
Now, this is before True Colors was released?
Yes. This was in August. And True Colors came out, I think, November or December.
She probably wants a tape back now. That still gets airplay, I think, now, doesn't it?
So the following night, she goes on David Letterman, and we had put together like a can of golf balls. They were chocolate truffle golf balls. And I told her, I said, don't take the chocolates out of the box until you give it to him. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. And so the next night she goes on David Letterman, and she says, oh my God. And she hits herself in the head and says, she told me to take the chocolate out of the box first, and I didn't. But it was very funny.
There you go.
Her was Simply Sweet.
There you go. True Colors. Wow, the original tape of that. That's got to be awesome.
We have the original tape, and the cover was in black and white.
I think that song and her other song, What Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I mean, it still gets radio play today. I mean, you hear it everywhere.
She was such a sweet person. You have me? I can't find you. Okay, I've gone. Okay, restore. Anyway. Oh, okay. She was just such a nice person, because they used to have talent contests for the children, and she would always be a judge. She was just a really nice person.
Yeah, she's always seemed really nice. I see her doing that Cialis commercial, not Cialis, but it's a thing for the skin condition. Sclerosis.
Psoriatic.
Yeah.
Sclerosis, yeah.
Yeah, would not want to have that. So let's get into your book. Let's talk about your book. What motivated you on to write this book?
I'm just trying to find you back again. Because I don't have
probably one of the tabs that are up there.
I'm looking. Okay. Anyhow, I always knew I could write.
Mm-hmm.
And my father had a very unusual story. And I always wanted to write it. But I wanted to make it fiction. I wanted to make it nonfiction. Because I have a brother who's a historian, and he insisted I make it nonfiction.
Oh.
But it wasn't that interesting, nonfiction. And I started it about 10 years ago, but then I put it down, and then I picked it up and I put it down, and I decided that it was going to have to become historical fiction. And once I began, which was 2 years ago, once I started writing, it just flowed. It just came out of me.
Mm.
And it was like something took over, and every day I would just write. And it was it's a good story. I mean, my father, the first 3 or 4 chapters of the book are true, where my father was raised by a very nasty, horrible tyrant of a father, but a sweet and loving mother. There you are. Okay. And when he was 12 years old, his mother died.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a younger brother who was 9. His father took he and his brother and put them in the care of a brothel and said, I'm going to America and I will send for you when I have enough money.
Mm.
While he was in the brothel, he was raped by a Polish soldier.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when he was 15. And the rest of the story is that this is all true. And then he came to this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the good misfortune of meeting his father in my lifetime. And he was as evil as they came.
Wow.
So the only names in the book that are not made up are his mother, his stepmother, and his father, because they don't deserve it. They deserve to be known as the horrible people they were.
Wow. So you're kind of outing some people you didn't like then.
Oh, I hated them, but I
Wow.
didn't make them out to be any nicer in the book.
Wow.
They were horrible people.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started with that, and that gave me a good foundation to start with. And then the rest of it, it was easy to make up a lot of it because I think I had a good beginning.
Mm-hmm. So how long overall did it take you to write the book?
Once I began, I'd say a year.
Wow. There you go. There you go.
I'd say a year. And I actually went to Ellis Island and I found my father on Ellis Island. And yeah.
Wow.
And,
there you go. Quite the history. And so what are some of the things or tease outs we can tease out about the story and some of the plot that goes on?
Well, my father came to America, and at 16 years old, he was told he could not stay with his parents. He had to get a job and move out and be on his own.
Mm.
And all he wanted to do was go to school. He really wanted an education, but his father said, no way.
Wow.
So he learned a trade, and he became a very well-known furniture maker.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. And so in the story, I have him maybe 20 years later being approached in his shop, and it turns out it was the Polish soldier who raped him.
Wow.
And that's not that unusual that could happen because so many people immigrated to Boston.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
Then I that did not happen, actually.
Oh, it didn't actually happen. Okay.
No, that part did not happen.
I was like, wow, that's a hell of a freak of fate.
All right. So then the rest is about getting revenge on the Polish soldier. And
oh, really?
The twists and turns. And there's a love story in there, of course. And there's murder and mayhem.
Murder and mayhem, you say.
Murder and mayhem.
You say. Murder, you say.
Murder and mayhem. Yeah.
My 2 favorite things in Vegas. I don't know what that means.
But he was just the sweetest, nicest guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He died his funeral was on the 4th of July years ago. And we thought no one would come to the funeral because it was the 4th of July, when 300 people showed up.
Wow.
And 300 people went to the cemetery and 300 people came back to my house. It was such an homage to him. And the eulogies that they gave were, they were very funny because he did not care. I mean, he always wore like overalls and t-shirts and jeans and t-shirts. It was part of his profession, but he cared about not going gray. So when he died, we found, what is the hair dye for men?
Hair clip for men, or hair,
whatever. No, it was we found hair dye in his night table drawer. That he cared about, but nothing else. I mean, he was funny. He was just a very nice, sweet guy. And what he taught his children is that no matter what you do, you have to be respectful. You have to be honest. and you have to be respectful, and you have to be educated.
Yeah, that's true. Education is good. I've learned that.
Yep. And that's what he did. So I thought he deserved a book.
There you go. There you go. So is he the main character in the book then?
Yes.
There you go.
But his name is Jacob in the book, and that was not his name.
Mm-hmm. What sort of lessons do you think people are going to come away from? Do you think they're going to learn anything from the book, or concepts? You know, we talked in the pre-show in the green room about how the title of the book is "The Story of ... Let's cover also why you named it that.
Because so many people that came to this country at the beginning of the 20th century were immigrants from Eastern Europe, and they all have a story.
Mm.
You know, there's so many stories. I think my father's is more unusual because he was raped. You know, that does not come into play most times. But other than that, the stories are just people did what they had to do to survive.
Mm.
And they had great work ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And you either became a criminal or you became a respected immigrant. It was one or the other. And he just was very highly respected and never made waves.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a book. And
there you go.
I loved it. I loved doing it. And I've already started my second book.
Now, is the second book going to be a continuum of the story, or
following his family?
Okay, so the next generation legacy.
The next generation, but it's totally fiction.
Huh? Totally fiction. No historical fiction this time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'd say 95% fiction, but of course, I draw from what I know, and so it starts with his funeral, and then it moves on from there. But it's all fiction.
Wow. Well, maybe you establish a character that you can keep writing through several books. Maybe
I want a movie.
Oh, there you go, movie.
I want a movie.
There you go. The Story of. I mean, it sounds like a great movie title.
Yeah. Well,
people
keep saying to me, this would make a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got a cast. I just don't have anyone to write it for me. But
it's a matter of time till somebody comes along and throws a option behind it from Hollywood.
Yeah, it's getting great. I mean, really stellar reviews. I'm amazed.
Yeah, here's one off of Amazon. The Story of by Shirley Novack captured me on page 1. It didn't release me until the last page and epilogue on page 249. She brings us to Poland in the early 1900s with the life of a small boy who lives in poverty, but worse, lives with an uncaring and hateful father. Wow, crazy. I mean, dropping kids off at a brothel to escape Jewish persecution and flee to America, it's kind of crazy. You dump your kids at a brothel. I mean,
so we try to figure out how he knew about the brothel, but when his wife died, he probably went there like every week.
Oh, okay. And he probably figured the women there, women good at taking care of kids, so dumped them all. I don't know. I just would not leave my kids at a brothel. I mean, that just seems
I wouldn't treat my kids the way he treated them anyhow. He treated his grandchildren the same way.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We would go to visit him on weekends when I was a little girl. Mm-hmm. And it could be snowing out. It could be pouring out. And he would raise his cane and threaten to hit us if we came in the house.
I do that to the neighborhood children.
Do you do that?
I've become known as Clint Eastwood's get off my lawn sort of people on social media mostly, but I wave my cane at them. And
I should send my kids to your house.
No, don't. Please don't.
No.
No, I mean, I like kids as long as they're somebody else's. That's how I work.
No, I was born to be a mother.
Yeah. I mean, being a mother is a great thing. So, what else can we tease out about the book? Any interesting other plot twists that take place that we can tease out? With novels, they're kind of hard because you can't really give away too much in the middle and the end.
I know,
like you can with a historical book?
Well,
Or
at the
other books?
beginning of the book, so I'm not giving too much away, he goes to Ellis Island,
Mhm.
and he was quarantined there because they thought he had tuberculosis.
Yeah.
And they kept him there for several weeks.
Hmm.
And this did not he meets a nurse there that he falls in love with, and take it from there.
There you go. There you
But
go.
he
So
doesn't see her for years.
so there's still a love story somewhere in here?
There are 2 love stories in there. Yes.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Well, an interesting journey and history rewrite of your family. What does your family think about it? Those who are still around.
Well, my brother, the historian,
Mhm.
who's published 14 books,
Oh, wow.
he's still stuck on the fact that it's fiction. But
Right.
he gave me kudos. He said he really enjoyed reading it.
Well, tell him to write his own damn book if he doesn't like it.
I've asked him to write me the dirty novel my whole life. I've said, this is, his book on Obama just came out. That's his last book.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's a tried and true Democrat. And
Okay. And so he put out a book on Obama. We had a speechwriter for Obama on the show. We had a number of people from all the White Houses. Nixon. I don't know if we've had anybody on from Ford. I think we had some people on from Reagan. We had a couple of people on there. They advised about 6 White Houses for foreign policy and stuff. So we had some interesting people on the show. But it's always interesting the work that goes in behind it. So planning a second book, do you see books beyond the second book, or are you taking them one book at a time?
One book at a time. I'm old.
That's how I am. It took me 54 years to write my first book, and
it took me 75.
It took you 70. You're not 75.
I'm 76.
Oh my gosh, you're really young looking. Yeah, I joke that since I waited till 54 to write my first book at this pace, I'll be 108 when I write my second one.
And you haven't done your second one yet?
No, we're still working on all the concepts. There's a lot of ideas kicking around. And
but look what you're doing.
Yeah, podcast.
You've got a major podcast.
Yeah, 13
you
years.
You meet wonderful people.
I do. I meet the most wonderful people. We'll do 3 podcasts today, and I learned so much from everybody. It's interesting. I get to talk to people about their lives, their journeys, and it's cool. You could probably pack everything in. You should probably just put all my interviews in a book, or all my best interviews in a book. The best interviews of the Chris Voss Show.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know. Does anybody going to read that? I don't know. You guys can write me and tell me. Anything more we want to tease out or touch on about the book?
I'm afraid to give away too much.
Yeah, you can't give away too much.
There are a lot of twists and turns in it, and yeah. I mean,
it's one of those things with novels. It's just there's not a lot you can tell, because otherwise, you. So what happens at the end? And you're like, well, no one's going to buy the book now. They know the ending. So that's kind of.
No, I know. I mean, ending the book was probably the hardest part for me. Because,
really?
Yeah, I did it as an epilogue.
Okay.
So you think the book's over, and then there's an epilogue.
Is the epilogue a lead into the next book?
No.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a tease out there. We got to find out what that is now. We got to go buy the book.
You got to go read the end of the book, and then you don't have to read anything else.
So is it hard to be a first-time author? Did you study anything?
I have never. Everyone says, "Oh, it's so hard. How did you get published? It's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
You must have sent it to a million publishing companies." I didn't want to self-publish. But I couldn't just go to Random House or Simon and Schuster and say, "Hi, here I am."
Yeah.
I've got a book. They would throw it out. They wouldn't even look at it. So I did my due diligence, and I found a publishing company that does hybrid publishing, which is they do everything from soup to nuts. However, you have to put a little bit of money up front, and I mean really a little money, and they don't take a dime until you've made that back.
Oh, wow. That's pretty darn good.
I know. And they were just a delight to work with. From the edit, they let me design my own cover.
That's good. A lot of big publishers don't let you pick the title or design your cover.
No.
Yeah. I've had people on the show. They're like, I'm like, that cover's really cool. And they go, yeah, I don't like it. I wish that I didn't have to deal with it, but I didn't have a choice. And I'm like, what do you mean you have a choice? I'm like, they're like, no, the
No, that
publishers picked
they
it.
don't let you design your own cover.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. But they asked me what I wanted the cover to look like, and I described it exactly to them. And it took about 2 tries before they got it exactly like what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those things where, like, with my cover, I worked really hard on it, and I'm like, if I gotta sign this thing and talk about it for the rest of my bloody life, I'm having the cover I'm proud of, because I don't want to be that guy like 5 years from now going, I really hate this fucking cover.
No, but everyone loves the cover. Everyone told me that this is what really drew them to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Is the cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, there it is. It's yeah.
It's got 2 immigrant-looking young men, I think.
Yeah, they're
Boys.
going off to the brothel.
Oh, they're going off to the brothel. I was going to ask, are they in Poland? Is that
yeah.
shot in Poland?
Yeah, they're in Koretz.
Wow, crazy, man. Stories of being left at a brothel. Maybe I should ask my dad why he never left me at a brothel. He left me on the side of the street with the pin on a couple times. Please take him. I think that was my mom that did that.
And you were 24.
Yeah, I was 24. I don't know. They were doing that. My mom was one of those people back in the 70s who would leave the kids in the car when she went to the grocery store. The Hillside Stranglers running around. You know, back then people just left their kids in the car.
We all did that.
Yeah, but my mom would put a sticker on the window saying, "Take one, take all, free." You know, she put it on Craigslist too, the free listing.
Yeah.
They didn't have computers back then.
No, when I think about things we used to do back in the 60s, you know, we trusted everybody.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird time, because the Hillside Stranglers running around Southern California, and we're just like, Mom, there's like killers and there's all sorts of 70s revolutionary crap going on.
Wait, I lived a few blocks away from where the Boston Stranglers struck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You could have. You missed out.
I was dating a young man who lived across the street from where he killed someone.
Wow.
Good old Albert DeSalvo. Yeah.
Wow. Craziness. Well, it's been interesting to have you on. Anything more we want to tease out about the book before we go?
Nothing about the book. I think I've covered as much as I want to give away. I just want people to buy it and read it and learn how, you know, the value of life lessons, education, and nothing is impossible, because these people came away with nothing and built lives and had children, educated them, and they became successful.
Yeah, you know, it's a good immigrant story. I mean, this country is a nation of immigrants. My great grandfather came to this country from Germany in the 1800s, late 1800s, and built their lives. They built their homes. My grandfather built his second home, and I think his first home in Green River, Wyoming. But they built their own homes. Like they're just like, hey, we need a home. Well, we'll just build it. You're just like nobody does that anymore, right? You know, especially.
Are you the first generation?
My great grandfather came from Germany. So there was my grandfather, my father, and then me. So is that third or fourth? I get lost. I just call him my great grandfather, but I'm named after him. So there's that.
Evidently Caesar was my great.
There you go. I mean, I just invented a whole new third series book for you in history. Didn't we all come from Caesar or Roman times or something? Marcus Aurelius was the name I was looking for either. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Shirley. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
There you go. You ever those people that when they say Shirley, you must, and you do the whole
don't call me
thing
Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley.
I would do that all the time if I was named Shirley.
I do.
There you go. There you go. Give us your .coms or wherever you want people to find you on the interwebs, please.
Sobonoe, SOBONOE at AOL.com. And S Novack, NOVACK, and AND associates.com.
There you go. She's the author.
On Facebook.
Okay. And on Facebook.
And LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram. And
there you go. Is it under your specific name on all those?
Shirley Novack.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Look her up and order the book wherever fine books are sold.
Wherever fine books are sold.
There you go. Stay with his alleyway bookstores because you might, get stabbed or robbed, or you might need a tetanus shot after you go into one. They're kind of dark and damp. Anyway, the story of ... came out December 21st, 2021. Shirley B. Novack. Check it out. Order up wherever fine books are sold. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We really appreciate you guys. Be sure to go to all our places on the web and refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. And thank you for tuning in.